Okay, so in today's session, we'll complete required setups for order management application and other setups. What are the setups required to create the auto invoice in receivables based on sales order? We'll focus on those setups also. Okay, so these are the setups which you have to complete for order management. Okay, these are the setups. Then we'll look at this process, and the other side required setups also will complete. Fine. So in EBS, if you want to have access to inventory inventory related items, what we do is in order management we'll set OM system parameters. We set OM system parameters. That's how inventory can be mapped with operating unit in EBS, so that you can have access to items which are available in the specific inventory which you associate with your operating unit as a item validation organization. But in Fusion, directly you can assign your inventory organization to your business unit through system options. So when we were working on receivables, we didn't do this activity since there was no inventory defined by the time. So now what we can do is we can go and assign our inventory to our BU through system options. When you say system options are available within receivables. So this setup is not related to order management, since we are talking about inventory connectivity with this O2C cycle. I just included this point. If you assign inventory to when your business unit through system options, if you map inventory with BU through system options, you will be able to have access to items from receivables itself. From receivables, when you are creating the transaction, you can select the item which is available within that inventory. But so even system will validate whether inventory organization is mapped with the specific BU through system options or not when you are running this O2C cycle. At the time of invoice creation, system will have validation. At least for that reason, we have to complete this setup. Okay, fine. Just will go and complete this. Go to our implementation project. Okay. So search for system options. Okay. So here we have task called as manage receivable system options. Click on go to task icon. So select our business unit. Our BU name is ERP Cloud. Okay. I think for our BU setups are not completed within this. Just will go on to setup no issues. Okay, as a part of receivables, already we have seen how to configure this system option. Just we given the basic information which fields are mandatory. Search for tax account. I'm just selecting the sales tax receivable. Just to complete this setup, just the same account I'll be using for all the accounts which are mandatory in this setup. Okay. So instead of selecting the appropriate account, I'm just using the same account. So here, tax option, you can set any one of the option. So here we have to map the inventory organization with this business unit. This we are setting at BU level, right? So we have to map our inventory this BU through item validation organization setup. So our inventory organization name is ERP Cloud Item Master. So rest of mandatory fields also you can just fill it. Grouping rule, so default one we can use. The recommended. Just check any mandatory information we have to provide under cash processing tab. Chargeback due date, default due date. Just fill with any value. So done. So save and close. This will complete other setups like supplier creation, customer creation, and auto accounting that we'll see later. Now we'll focus on OEM related basic configuration. Okay, this task we completed. Now from OEM side we have to set up order management parameters. So before that we'll check whether order management offering is added into our project or not. No. So add order management offering. So not exactly offering option only, specific module. So see, there is no such a offering called as SCM, supply chain management in the system. So the reason is in the very initial stages, the order management was not developed. Later they just developed and introduced. That is the reason that order management they given as a separate option where you can add separately, uh, and it is not available with the title as with the title called as SCM. When you talk about finance, you can get all the modules within the finance. When you talk about SCM, there is no separate offering as SCM. So these we have as a separate different options. So you can search for order management, add here. Okay, so apply and click on done. So now within this you can find all the setups. So first we have to set up order management parameters. You can search for the task called as order management parameters. Where is that? Here is the task. Just click on go to task icon. So when you compare this order management parameters with EBS setup, it is slightly different. In case of EBS, we'll select operating unit and we'll be setting the order management parameters, OM parameters. But here, this setup is global setup. Within this, you can add your business units with the respective options. Okay. So just we'll go through this. So allow changes through configuration validation. It's not required. Configuration effective date. Ignore it. So configuration effective date, it's all about when you are creating the orders and all, what date should be affected. You can select the parameter. These all are the parameters. If you remember, if you go to OM parameters, you can find many parameters over there. There you can set defaults. Same way here also. By default, we have one value called as all business units, but here you can choose your business unit also. This, even if you don't add here, there won't be an issue. It's not mandatory one to add. You can ignore this, not required. This parameter for normal, it's not required. So customer relationship type and all. So primarily you have to set up item validation organization here. If you select item validation organization here, then from that organization you'll be able to have access to the items to create the sales orders. Okay, just click on add, select our business unit. That will search ERP cloud. So this is a business unit and select here organization. Organization code is ERP. Starts with ERP. Search. So select your inventory organization. So we have items in this ERP cloud VS inventory that you can map here. The rest of parameters are not mandatory. Okay. So prepare for procurement, not required. Notify frequency, not required. Okay, these all are not mandatory, not required also. So depending on the scenario and preferences, you may use it. Just save it. And here you can set pricing related preferences. So when you are going to deal with the price and all, you can just set up here. And default price, okay, unit of measurement class, that you may set as here So what would be that unit of measurement when you deal with the price that you can set based on the quantity or currency? You can set up what you require. These are the different unit of measurements for pricing purpose. Those you can set here. I'll say uh, quantity would be okay, unit of measurement for pricing based on the quantity. Okay, we'll be defining the price based on the quantity for the specific item. So based on quantity selection, price would get defaulted. I'm just selecting the value as a preference as a quantity. Product catalog and all just not required to select here. We can set up all those as a part of pricing setups. Okay, so very primarily we have to set item validation organization. Okay, we're done with that. Now we'll create the release sequence rules. Like when we are going to release and we are going to pick the material from the inventory, what rule system has to apply even in case of shipping. So all the rules we have to define, what system has to default and what criteria it has to okay pick or ship confirmation, and all these rules we have to define. We'll go and just define, since it all will become mandatory for the process of sales order creation. Just will go on to complete the basic definitions. Okay, so create release sequence rule. Search for task called as release sequence rules. So manage release sequence rules. Okay, just wait for a second. So we'll create our own rule here. You can just click on create. So we have to set up all the priorities in terms of releasing and what priority will be performing the releases. Say ERP cloud release sequence rule. Okay, what is the priority and what base will be releasing the orders, like sales order base or ship scheduled ship date, or what shipment priority on what base will be releasing this against the sales order, how you will be releasing the material and all. You can set it up. I'll say just sales order. You can select any one of the that to the sales orders also, like ascending or descending order, based on what criteria will be performing the releases, that you can specify any value. You can select and say save and close. We are just going with the basic definition, so just we have to complete that. Will help us to process the sales order, and finally we can create the invoice. We'll go and create the pick slip grouping rule. Just click on search. Okay, manage pick slip grouping rules. Click on create. So ERP cloud pick slip grouping rule. Okay, the picking, like on what criteria you want to pick that material. So you can say sales order wise, or else customer may be the criteria, customer and maybe sales order. All these criteria grouping rules you can specify accordingly. When you are going to perform this process, system automatically will be picking based on that criteria. Fine, just we're done with this task. Now we'll go with the ship confirmation rule definition. Manage ship confirmation rule. Okay, just click on create. So here you can see ERP Cloud Ship Confirmation Rule. Here primarily it's all about when you perform the ship confirmation, how system has to take further action based on the ship confirmation, that you can set it up, create shipping remaining and all we can accept. So you can disable the checkbox defer sending inventory updates to integrated application. So defer means delay, like once you do the ship confirmation, system has to update that information in the auto invoice interface. Okay, so for that reason defer means delay. Here we don't want to delay any ship confirmed information to be updated in the auto invoice interface. This you checkbox you can uncheck, then you can say save and close. Otherwise you have to update the ship confirm, what are the sales orders you have, for which sales order shipment is confirmed, to update those sales orders into auto invoice interface, a separate program you have to run. So if you enable the checkbox, just disable it so that it won't defer. Immediately the moment you perform the ship confirmation for the sales order, that information will get populated into auto invoice interface tables. From there we can import into receivables as auto invoice. Just say save and close. Just uncheck that checkbox, then you can complete the setup. Rest we can accept defaults. Okay, picking rules. When we are going to pick the material from inventory, what are the rules should be applicable as per your business process? So picking rules. Okay, so task name is manage picking rules. Click on go to task icon. Click on create. So picking rule, I'll say here pick cloud picking rule. So just set as active. So when system is going to pick the material from the particular inventory, from specific sub inventory, it has to pick partial material also, partial picking also possible, applicable or not, all you can specify. And the same way you can set all the criterias. These all are not mandatory, just complete this setup so that you can map in the relevant further definition, where other setup is required, the picking rule definition. So next step is picking rule assignment. So here you can find the manage picking rule assignments. Click on go to task icon. Okay, so you can just click on create, and this picking rule is for which inventory organization that you can map. You have to select our actual inventory, search with ERP. So only inventory organization, actual inventory only you can see here. The sequence, the picking rule, whatever you defined, you can select. ERP cloud. So what is the additional criteria? You can select all the criteria here. So you may provide additional criteria, or else just you can complete this. So we have to define the peak wave release rules. Peak wave. Again, peak wave release rules. We can get it with this task search. Yep. Okay, here peak wave means it will just refer shipping. Okay, peak slip. So just click on manage peak wave release rule. So just click on create. Give the name as ERP cloud peak wave release rule. And this all comes under the criterias. Okay, then you are going to perform the peak release. So these all criterias you can use. You can set from organization. If you want to set defaults, you can set here. If you have only one inventory, in that case we may set it up, otherwise you can keep it as open, and you will be able to provide when we are going to submit it. And which is sub inventory, books sub inventory, release status. So you may set all or only unreleased sales orders need to be released, and other options. These are here also you can set the additional criterias. Pick from sub inventory. Okay, from this you can specify the staging sub inventory. We didn't create any staging sub inventory, so here you can specify the release sequence rules, pick slip grouping rules, and you can specify auto confirm picks, pick cloud release sequence rule we define, pick slip grouping rule also we created. So if you want to confirm the picks automatically, that you can set it up and you can, if you want to create the shipments automatically, you can enable it, and that should happen across the orders or within the order. So these all are not mandatory, just to, when we are doing it, if you want to automate this, I mean, if based on this criteria, if you want to perform the peak releases, then this all you have to set up. Even you can specify here ship confirmation rule, which we created already. Okay, so you can set up all these criterias. Okay, you can say save and close. Okay, so along with this, we'll create the staging inventory also. Staging inventory which is required at the time of sales order creation. Just complete that also. Just I forgot to include that setup. Create staging sub inventory. Search for sub inventories. Manage sub inventories under locators. This will create one stage. So we want to create staging sub inventory within which inventory organization. So we'll create within this inventory organization ERP US. Just give the name as staging and say save and close. And that we can use at the time of order creations and further any, I mean, picking process in all the cases. So we'll go and set up shipping parameters. So search for shipping parameters. Okay, the shipping parameters for specific inventory organization. So you can set all the controls and defaults how that should, I mean, when you are going to just do the shipping from this inventory organization. So what are the different rules should be applicable when you are going to pick the material from within this inventory, or when you are going to do the next step as a shipping. So what are the conditions or rules are applicable, all you can specify here. So these are all anyway optional. Let's set that ship confirmation rule which we define. Automatically pack, if you want to do that, you can enable. So select this pick release related rules. So release sequence rules, pick slip grouping rule, and select here staging sub inventory as a mandatory. So just now we created staging inventory that you can select. Enforce shipment sets and all not required. So fine, these mandatory parameters we specified, that would be enough. So these all are optional. Okay. So weight, unit of measurement, you may specify as a weight. For volume. Optional, you can specify all this, then say save and close. So attribute ship set breaking options. Ship set. So shipment set behavior is a information. So save and close. Now here collector, payment terms, statement cycles, customer profile class, customers definition, all just we completed as a part of receivables, will be using the same. Okay, we know how to create the customers and all. Okay, that will be using the same definitions will be using. So I am marking as done. We know how to create the collector, how to create the payment terms, statement cycles, how to group all of them into profile class, and how to create the customer and the customer site. So these setups already we completed as a part of receivables. Okay, say customer is ready. So the additional setup which you have to complete is we have to set up customer account description. It's a very important. Before we go and create the sales order, we'll do it. I'm just marking it as a pending. If you don't complete this setup, okay, you don't get the proper supplier definition into sales order. You can use that supplier to create the invoices, billing and receivables, but you cannot use that customer and the order management for sales order creation process. We'll discuss on that. And assign reference data set to BU. So this task also, it's a part of receivables only, right? As a part of receivables, we can go on to complete that setup. Okay, these all are receivables related setups. Anyway, we know all these setups, how to create customer and all. So keep customer record ready, that's all. Okay, so we know like when you are creating the customer for the account, okay, customer site level will separate reference data set will create and will be assigning that reference data set to business unit. This we know how to manage as a part of receivables. The same setups we have to keep ready when you are going to work on order management, since the supply definition is required and the same data will flow into receivables. Fine. So apart from that, when you are working on this order management, okay, what are the additional roles we have to assign to user, where the user will give the access to work on order management related process, as well as so this pricing related setups. So if you want to work on this pricing separate setups, you have to do. Okay, when you are going to create the sales order, system has to derive the price for the selling price for each and every item, that you have to complete with the help of these setups. So price list, pricing segment, pricing strategy, and pricing customer profile for pricing. Okay, pricing customer profile and pricing segment definition and pricing strategy assignment. So this all comes under pricing. These setups all are pricing related setups. Okay.
So, Lakshman, is it a part of advanced pricing?
So it's yes, even in EBS also will do the same, right? It's a part of advanced pricing only, but the very simple basic definition will do over there. Here, the setups what we do, it's more bit detailed compared to EBS. Okay, just in EBS what we do, we'll create the price list, right? I'm not sure.
Yes.
Yeah. So we'll create just
Yes.
price
Yeah.
list. That is enough. You no need to go and set too much of criteria to derive the price. But here, as a basic pricing setup, you have to complete all this. Otherwise, pricing won't work in the order management when you are dealing with the sales orders. These are very basic setups, okay, to enable the pricing in Fusion Order Management. It's just always pricing is advanced pricing, that separate module. But for order management purpose, in case of EBS, just will create the price list. You may set the price item wise or category wise, some other criteria wise. But in Fusion case, okay, along with the price list, you have to complete all these, which will derive the price based on different uh, rules. Yeah. So this we have to set up. If you want to set up these setups, you cannot do from project. Okay. So if you have access to application implementation consultant role, okay, you cannot have access to these tasks as a part of project. These are all tasks you can get access by assigning the pricing related roles to user. So which user require access to pricing related setups? So to that user we have to assign the required roles. We have a roles called as pricing manager and pricing analyst. These roles we have to assign to the user, then we can work on it. Okay, we'll see that. And along with this pricing, we'll assign the role called as we have a role called as I think order manager. Order manager role we have, that role also will assign to this user, so that this user will be able to create the sales orders. What we'll do is we'll go on to assign these roles. Just I mentioned the point here, so I'll write here itself. So we'll assign the roles called as, say, order manager. We'll assign this role, and apart from this, to do the pricing setups, we need additional roles. Say pricing manager. Okay, pricing manager, you can do the setups. When we are doing these pricing related setups, there will be few setups where you have to approve that setup as a simple, by just clicking on approve, you have to approve it. To support that, you have to use, say, pricing analyst role also. Pricing analyst role. So along with that, we have another role also, which is recommended to use to have a pricing related full privileges, setup related privileges, that is, say, pricing. I think we have pricing administrator. Administrator. Okay. So just we are going to assign these three roles to complete these setups, and we are assigning order manager role, which allows us to create the sales orders. That's it. Okay, so we'll assign these four roles to this user or current user, and we'll provide the data access for our roles. For these roles, we'll give the data access. Fine, we'll go on to complete the setups. So first assign these roles to our user. Go to security console. Security console. Okay, our username is ERP Cloud. Just click on username. Click on edit, and add these additional roles which are required for pricing setup as well as sales order creation. So for sales order creation, this is the role we use, order manager. It's not mandatory to assign and to map specific business unit to this. This we can do later point of time after completing all setups also. Okay, as of now, basically these roles we have to assign to complete these setups. After that, we'll just complete these setups whenever we are going to create the sales order. Again, we have to do all these activities. So when you are going to create the sales order, we need access to sales order creation form or page. So only that is a case where we require order manager role to be mapped with the user, and to the same role we have to map business unit also. Fine, we'll see that. We'll assign these roles. Fine. Anytime just you can do it because we have to understand the purpose. Order manager. Okay, for few roles to fetch, it may take more time. But let me type full name. Order manager. So assign this role to user, and other roles are pricing related roles. Why we are assigning this? To do the pricing related setups. Pricing manager. QP pricing manager, that is a job code you can use. Pricing analyst. And you may assign pricing administrator role also. Okay, assigned. Now you can map business unit with these roles. Go to task called as data access for users, setup and maintenance. So just click on create. Okay. So order manager, security contest select as business unit, map business unit with order manager. So name is ERP Cloud US business unit, right? So we have three more roles. To which roles we have to assign the BU. Just click on add. So pricing manager, security contest is business unit, ERP cloud US business unit. The next role is pricing analyst. So map business unit with the pricing analyst role, and security contest is business unit. Yes, we have one more role called as pricing administrator. Fine. Just say save and close. You can submit LDAP job, LDAP, for this role synchronization with respect to data definitions. Go to schedule processes. Schedule new process. When it takes some time, you know that we're done up to here. Okay, now pricing setups are pending. Apart from that, we have to create shipping methods, transaction types. In case of EBS, we create OM transaction types for header and line, but here not mandatory. Okay, but just for our information, we'll go through that. And as a mandatory, we have to complete this planning related and ATP rules definition. These all are mandatory here to bring the data from inventory or product management system to order management system. Okay, we'll discuss those points. So I think the next session we can complete all the setups. The next session we can see the sales order creation process also. Just one more session we require to complete this O2C cycle, the remaining setups as well as process. Okay, in tomorrow session we can finish this O2C. After that we'll continue with the other pending concepts. Okay, so these are the basic configuration we have to complete including these setups also. We'll see this. Okay, we'll connect tomorrow same time and we'll continue from here.
Lakshman, did you guys send any new link? I didn't receive.
No. I didn't do yesterday. I'll do it. I'll do it. Maybe within 5 minutes you can receive that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Lakshman, can you please upload yesterday class?
Sorry.
Missed that class. Yesterday class, can you please upload it?
I uploaded yesterday itself. Check it once. Just you can go and check it once. Okay. If any issues, please let me know. I just uploaded yesterday itself.